Our mom's a bus driver, I'm a bus driver, and they were like, oh, it's a whole family affair now. And they were acting like he had like so many people in his corner helping him, so he had a leg up on the test and everything. He didn't really have like a handicap or anything. It's not like we come home and we're like, oh, look at this part of the bus. This is the alternator. This is the water heater. This is the Why do I do that? Let's go. What's up guys, thanks for clicking and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is an interview, which is something that is in my YouTube categories, but I've kind of been neglecting it ever since I started YouTube. I think my last interview was like an extremely cringy video that was like maybe 4 years ago, I really don't know. But today we're bringing an interview back and I have with me the latest bus driver in our family, who's also my husband. So today we're gonna ask some questions because I know a lot of you guys have been asking me some questions on my bus driver videos about starting out and you guys are nervous and you want tips. Today we're gonna cover some of those topics, but mostly we're gonna talk about Eli's experience as a bus driver, like the rough patches, the stuff that's going better now. He just completed his first week, so he's freshman. He's a freshman bus driver. But yeah, so Eli, how are you feeling so far about being a bus driver? I guess we should just go back. What was the training process like for you?
That was a challenge. Just the memory. Pre-trip. Yeah.
The moment I realized this would not be an interview, but a talk show.
I didn't think I was ever going to get that.
The pre-trip.
The pre-trip.
But you got it. I remember you were coming home and then you were talking about how you never were going to be able to get it, and then like a day or two later it just like started clicking for you and you're like, yeah, I got it now.
What happened? It just started clicking out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I started, the pre-trip was one of the most overwhelming things for me. I was just like, whoa, there's so many elements to the school bus that you have to like know and stuff like that. But then once you start to study, if you have a good instructor and stuff and you start to study, it all falls into line. Just like anything you're trying to study for, it looks overwhelming at first, but once you start to like break it up into little pieces, like it all comes together. And
but I had like 3 different trainers.
He had 3 different trainers. What was it? Your first trainer got sick or something?
Yeah, like the first week and then...
And they all had different training styles.
Yeah.
So, the pre-trip was the hardest thing. What was like the easiest thing about training?
Probably the driving, except for turning.
Except for turning.
I wasn't squaring up enough at first. You know me, I always cut corners on turns. You always called me out for it.
I did.
You're turning too tight. Like
I did always.
You're turning into the lane. Yeah, but the driving part was easy. Other than that, I mean.
Did you think that the driving part was gonna be easy? No.
No, not really. The mirrors. It's like I told you when.
You can see everything.
Everything.
Yeah. I honestly didn't think that driving the bus would be as easy as it actually is. Like, I remember when I was training, and this was like a couple years ago, I'm like a junior bus driver now, like this is my 3rd year. But I remember getting in the bus and like you can see everything from up there. You can see the whole side of your bus, you can see all the front of your bus, you can see most of everything. And like I remember going back to my car after training and being like, I can't see anything, I can't see the sides of my car. Like the car feels so small too after stepping out of training and going back into your vehicle, but you also feel like, oh, I want to buy some of the mirrors that are on the bus and like stick it on my car because I don't feel like the car's as safe.
Like when you're trying to park right up on the curb, like it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
When you're trying to park up on the curb for the elementary.
Yeah, you can see the tires and everything. It's great. So you had multiple trainers and everything, but you still got through it and you still tested. He passed on his first go around with the test. What was the test like? I know the test is split up into 3 parts. So.
Oh yeah, pre-trip, the parking, and then the driving. The maintaining, like going through the cones forward and back, some kind of backwards maneuver into a parking space and parallel.
Did they test you on the side that you were best?
Luckily, the easier one.
Okay.
For the mirrors. I mean, I would have gotten either way, I'm sure, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily it was the easier side, where you can see it closer.
Here, where we are, parallel parking is like very uncommon, so I haven't parallel parked my school bus since passing my test, actually. He actually did have to parallel park the other day. I
had to, I just chose to, yeah.
I wouldn't choose to.
I wanted to see if I could.
Me, I'm just like, I look at something and I'm like, there's a risk, I'm gonna avoid it. So if there's 2 buses parked there and there's a gap in between them, I'm parking behind them or in front of them or just not parking by them at all. But he went and parallel parked in between two buses the other day, so mad props to him for that, because I wouldn't be able to do it. But yeah, he's definitely putting that parallel parking to good use. What was 10 hours with students like for you?
That was my most feared portion. Yeah, that was, I felt completely unqualified. I don't know, I felt like I didn't do enough, like, simulation, I guess.
Before the 10 hours with students?
I mean, even if I did a lot, I feel like once you've had the kids, it's just a whole nother thing.
It's
the noise, the trying to make sure they're not where they're not supposed to be on the outside of the bus. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. The thing is, like, training is just you and a trainer and maybe somebody else that's learning at the same time. I had a one-on-one with my trainer. He had, like, multiple people in the bus with him while he was training, that was, like, an annoying thing for him. But I came in the summer. We were in the middle of a shortage. There was, like, COVID happening. So I had, like, that one-on-one with my trainer. He had, like, other people in there.
Two trainers shadowing a trainer.
It's kind of nerve-wracking. As far as training goes, like, you know, you do your book work, and then you get your permit, and then you do the whole...
That was probably the hardest part.
The book work and permit for you? Yeah, the CDO, the permit. Then you get your paperwork, go down to transportation. You've already been hired at this point, so the first step here is, like, applying for the job, then you get your permit. He actually got his permit before applying for the job because we just wanted that step up, like, oh, you guys still need people. I already have my permit. I'm ready to go. And it worked out in his favor really well because he ended up being the first person to pass from his class because he already had all of his stuff from the get-go. So me, I did it the other way. I got hired and then I got my stuff.
And they were trying to rush me because it's a part of the family. Let's get him in here already. Let's get him driving.
Our mom's a bus driver, I'm a bus driver, and they were like, oh, it's a whole family affair now. And they were acting like he had, like, so many people in his corner helping him, so he had a leg up on the test and everything. And we were over here dead tired from, like, the first week of school, like, trying to just keep it together. He didn't really have, like, a handicap or anything. It's not like we come home and we're like, oh, look at this part of the bus. This is the alternator. This is the water heater. This is He passed the test, which is the 3-part test. When I was doing the test, I was like, this is something that you are good with, because for me, when I was doing the test, there was, of course, the 3 parts that he talked about, which was the pre-trip, the parking, and then the on-the-road test. And for me, the pre-trip took like an hour and a half at the time. It was really long. They've taken so many stuff out of the pre-trip since I started, so I was like, wow, that's crazy. But anyway, so the pre-trip was really long. Then you had to do the parking, the parallel parking, straight backing, and then the last one was the on-the-road test. And if you're on the on-the-road test, you speed if you go through a red light. And it's not like even if you go through a red light, it's like if you go through a yellow and the trainer sitting in the middle of the bus sees the light turn red as you're passing, you're failed. If you hit a curb, you're automatically failed. If you speed, you're automatically failed. There's like a few things that you're like automatic fail. And when I was training, if you failed at all, like say you went through all 3 of the tests and you fail, well, you went through all 2 of the tests, and then you failed the last one, you'd have to go back another day and take all of it again. Do your 1-hour pre-trip again, do the other test again, do that test again. They changed it now, so if he were to like go and do the pre-trip and then fail the parking maneuvering one, he would just come back and start off from the parking maneuvering and then go to the on-the-road test. So I was like, that's really something that's great, because for me, there was a lot on the line and I really didn't want to fail, and I was so happy that I passed the first time because it was stressful. So he was taking his test and I was like on Live 360, like watching where he was.
I almost failed it twice.
No, you didn't. Really?
Because remember, we went a different route.
Oh.
We had to go around a cul-de-sac or not a cul-de-sac, we had to go around an island, a roundabout island.
And
she was talking so much I almost went through a yellow. It luckily like had turned yellow right when I was crossing it, so there was no way I was gonna like get dinged on that if it had turned any sooner though.
Yeah,
she was talking so much it didn't even feel like a test.
Thankfully, my trainer didn't talk like at all during the test. Like I was literally the one talking, because you're kind of like narrating your movements during the test and saying what you're looking for while you're driving, saying what you're doing, saying like, this is an overpass, I'm clear to go over it because blah, 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 blah. Like you're literally narrating all of your movements while you're driving.
Oh, I just realized we went too far too, because remember, my pre-trip test was a third completely different bus from the first and second.
Yeah.
Like, the first bus that I trained on had it down pat. Then I looked at a second one and I was like, okay, this isn't too much different. The only difference was the coolant was on the other side in the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mom's bus, which was supposed to be the same bus, completely different. Completely different. Like, I opened the hood and was like, crap. Like, I opened the hood during the test and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I hate life right now.
There was a lot going on, because for me, I was like fortunate enough to test on a bus test on the bus that I was trained on. So I'm doing the pre-trip every single day. I'm coming with the same trainer, the same bus, and he left the bus so that I could be trained in that bus, and they took that exact same bus out, and I was able to like show them everything for the pre-trip. Every single bus you get has something that's different from another. It doesn't matter, like, if it's just a change in the year or if it's a change in the brand. Like, the switch to open the door is gonna be different, look different, or be somewhere different. Something under the hood's gonna be different, look different, or be somewhere different. That can really trip someone up who has been training on the same bus and then they get changed to a different bus. Because I think your bus that you were training on was like an IC, right?
It was an IC, but then it was also an IC.
But it looked totally different.
The bus that I tested on, but under the hood was way different. It wasn't even just like things were on the other side. Things were even in different places.
My bus last year was a propane bus, and it was a Bluebird. I loved that bus, and I thought they were going to give it back to me this year. But this year they gave me a diesel. Everything is in a different spot. It's just a different format. The bus just looks different. It feels different. It's totally way louder. Everyone told me propane buses were trash last year, and they're so loud. But the bus last year was so much more quiet, and I could reach the pedals a lot better. The bus that I have this year, it's like a real reach for it, and it's like, it's just a totally different format, but they were made in the same year. So it's like, they're both the same brand, both the same year, but they're just totally different things. So I can only imagine training on one bus for a while and then having to move to other buses. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to do that. I'm sorry you had to do that. But
I remember because he got sick.
His trainer got sick,
but still left it for me for the other trainer. But then decided to take it with him
just before
on
his
the last
test.
2 days and on the test.
Yeah,
like to take it wherever he
wanted to go.
Out of.
Yeah,
or at his house if he has space there.
The good thing is, because Eli tested so soon, like, and because he went in with his permit already and his P&S endorsement, he was able to get one of the routes that are out of the school that I drive out of, so now we drive to work together, which is pretty cool.
A bunch of routes, so.
He has a high school, middle school, and elementary, so we finish around the same time in the afternoon. He gets there like 15 minutes earlier than me because his high school is a lot longer, and he doesn't have...
Yeah, the only negative thing is like no break.
Yeah.
Like, it's super... I'm always like somewhat late.
Mm.
Yeah.
You do classwork stuff, like bookwork stuff, and that's something I don't really talk about a lot because it's like pretty easy stuff, but it's also really boring.
Like boring, yeah.
Yeah.
Boring.
I remember when I was doing my video about that, I was like in the class, and I remember I said I was the only one, right? So I'm the only one sitting in the classroom. No one's monitoring me because like everyone's seen this before. All the instructors are like, it's fine, she's just watching the material. I was literally at the back like doing the Running Man, watching the video because I'm trying to like stay awake. So I was in the training room all the way at the back. It's all dark in there. No one else is in there but me.
You were the only one?
I was the only one. Yeah. And then
that's terrible.
So it's just like this big screen. It's projected on there and you just like watching the video. And I was like falling asleep and I was like, I can't do this. I gotta stay awake. So I'm just like standing in the back like doing the Running Man, like, you got this. Listen, you got this.
Yeah, if you did a time duration, like I would look like this, like just... like the amount of times I moved just to like, oh my gosh, because the seats are not that it's not even the comfort, man.
Yeah. Nothing really compares to the real thing ever, like in pretty much any circumstance. So you aren't allowed to drive with real students on the bus until you get your license. So once you pass that test that I was talking about, the 3-part test, then you get put into the system, they get your license, you go to DMV and pick it up. For me, that was a lot more complicated because, like I said, it was during COVID, everything was backed up. You couldn't just walk into DMV and do something.
That was a fun time. Yeah, that was fun times.
Mine took like 2 weeks and was kicked back because of some system error. and I actually didn't get a summer school route because of that, but Eli was able to walk in and you got yours like that same day, right?
I just got in, got it, came back, got a copy for them.
Yeah.
Just have to give him a copy. I forgot of my actual one now.
Because your hard copy came in.
Just got it
he got his
weekend.
paper copy that day.
Yeah.
And he was able to start doing his 10 hours with students because now he had his license. So he did he took the test on Thursday, right? It was like a Thursday? Was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah,
Thursday?
Thursday, and then I immediately the next day did 5 hours, and then Monday 5 hours again.
Yeah, so he did 10 hours with students with 2 different trainers. So like Friday he was doing AM and PM, and then on Monday he did AM, and then he got released in the middle because he wouldn't have time to go and get his bus and all that stuff and things like that. So that he got released in the middle, and then at the afternoon he did his final leading up to 10 hours, and then he started his route by himself on Tuesday. So the good thing about the trainer he worked with on Monday was she drives out of our school. She happened to be covering his high school route. So he was able to drive through his high school route in the bus with someone there. And that, I feel like, it was pretty helpful, right? To be able to drive through a high school route at least one time before you started on your own in the bus.
Except it was pick up and not drop off.
That's true. Pickup is so much easier.
Which we'll get to that part later. But
pickup is so much easier because you see all the kids. You're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is a stop, but if you see a kid, our thing is if you see a kid, stop and pick them up, or stop and ask them where they're going. If they're not going to your school, radio someone and say, hey, this kid's standing out at this stop. What do I do? So it's a lot easier because it's if you were to be driving a UPS truck or something and you're just picking up packages, you're just seeing you're only stopping where you see a bunch of packages laying out on the floor. That's how it is. The kids are just standing out there for you to pick them up. But in the afternoon, there's no one standing out there, so you can miss people's houses and stuff. And the route sheets are a little confusing at first. So my first tip of the video is highlight your route sheet. I highlighted his route sheet. He was reserved about it. I was like, I'm highlighting your route sheet. The reason why I highlight my sheets is because I was doing tons of sub routes my first year. I had a high school and a middle school, but no elementary. And most of the time I would do doubles or triples for elementary because there was such a shortage when I started. And on the days where I only had one elementary, I was like, whoa, that's weird. That was just the vibe my first year. So there were so many routes that I was doing that I had no clue where I was going. Looking down on the paper for an extended period of time was a big no. I started highlighting my route sheets, and that cut my time a lot because I would highlight the stop in orange, and then if I made a right turn, it would be in pink, a left turn would be in yellow, a U-turn would be in blue. Were there other colors?
Left turn, right turn, U-turn, that's it.
Okay. And then I'd be able to look down and just see the name of the road and then see that it's highlighted in pink and make a right. So the highlighted route, do you think it helped you?
Probably.
Probably.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't fully know. I didn't try to without it. So I mean, I'm sure it did though.
So tell us about your first day. What was your first day like by yourself?
Oh my gosh, first day. Man, the nerves when I was driving away in the morning, first for high school. Oh my gosh, dude, I was just hoping for not the worst day possible. That's it. I wasn't even expecting it to go good, just not the worst day possible. Everything was good, but then they called because it was the morning and the afternoon, so I think I missed a right turn for high school. That was such a simple mistake. I was kicking myself. But I think other than that, it was pretty good. Reading the route sheet, the whole time I was just don't get lost, don't get lost, don't get lost. Please don't get lost, and look like a fool.
No,
or be super late,
we all get lost.
Oh my gosh, because I'm thinking about the kids, are relying on me to get to school on time,
Yeah.
And because of how tight the schedule is, I think elementary, middle school was smooth, the kids, super smooth. Elementary was super smooth in the morning, only that I got there probably 20 minutes late because it's really rough. There's no time in between for error at all, so
it's a lot of turning.
It's a lot of turning.
He has a lot of U-turns on his route.
It's a lot of U-turns. Luckily there has not been a situation other than 2 trash cans that I had to worry about. Oh, and a basketball hoop, that's it.
Basketball hoops are rough though. There are some neighborhoods where they'll have a basketball hoop on one side of the road coming over and then another one on the other side of the road coming over.
Yeah, they
what do you expect?
I have to bob and weave 3 of them because they're low and they're there's one here, there's one here. And then there's one right there on this one road
Yeah.
that I go down.
I don't know what people are
elementary.
thinking. And then also some cul-de-sacs too. Like some cul-de-sacs are ridiculous. I can do cul-de-sacs. I can do backing. I can do a ton of stuff. I have good confidence when it comes to driving the bus because I'm comfortable driving it and backing up. I just don't back up when it's not necessary. I don't know. That's just like one of the things I do. Like when you were parallel parking, not saying that that wasn't like awesome because it was. I just wouldn't do it because I feel like there's a risk. And so I just, anything that's like unnecessarily risky, I don't.
I did get close. I was close.
Yeah.
To hitting the one behind me. Like.
So first day.
Yeah, so the drop off. So I missed the right turn again that I missed in the morning, like, but I didn't even realize that was the one I missed. And then I didn't realize when I missed it again, and I'm looking for a cul-de-sac because it's supposed to be a right turn, then it's a stop. Then you go down about 0.20 miles, and it's a U-turn. I'm looking for a U-turn, and my kids are like, bro, you just missed a stop. Like, bro, you just missed a stop. And I'm thinking they're trolling because they're laughing. Like, they're like, or some of them are like smiling when they're saying it, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a U-turn. It says I gotta do a U-turn. Eventually I was just like, oh my gosh, this is not 0.20 miles. Like, we've gone like 0.40, there's no cul-de-sac. Like, luckily there was this kid who was like helping me get out of that neighborhood, like get the stops done and get out of that neighborhood. Like, that dude, like saved me, man. Like, I even thanked him after, like, I was like, bro, like, thank you when he was getting off.
Yeah.
For helping me, like, oh my gosh, because I thought the route sheet was messed up. Because I had no idea that there was this right turn I missed twice. So I'm thinking, like, they set me up, like, the route sheet's wrong. I kept looking it over and over again when I got home. I was like, was it this right turn? I was like, maybe it was this right turn. And then in the afternoon, well, actually it was two kids who were trying to help me. There was a different one in the afternoon the next day. It was like, you think you got it now? I was like, yeah, I think it was the right turn I missed. He sat like right behind me. He was like, I'll help you if. Luckily I didn't get lost again. I did not. That was so embarrassing. That was like the worst. Dude, I was telling her, like, I wanted to quit already. Like, that's like the worst feeling when you get lost with high schoolers. Because they just rag on you, they dog on you. Like, high schoolers are like brutal, man. You get lost with elementary, they're just sitting there like la-di-da in the old world. Like, they don't know what's happening. Like,
some of them are pretty sharp though. Some of them are pretty sharp. On most of the elementary routes I've subbed for, there's at least one or two kids on the route who can tell you exactly how the whole route goes, and you won't even need the route sheet, which is amazing.
I know the whole thing now. Like, that neighborhood. Like, now, like, I forced myself. Like, I was like, I'm gonna learn this high school route so that I don't ever have to worry about it. But then, oh my gosh, elementary. In the afternoon. I like my elementary. But there was like 3 of them. The morning was like night and day. Like, just, it wasn't that loud. Like, they were just, it's kind of funny the things they were saying. But then the afternoon, especially having to check all of them on, like, the whole having to like ask all of them their name and like have to find their name, and then like there's the one that doesn't say the right name. They constantly call him his nickname. Like, I forced myself to memorize what he looks like, where his stop is, and what his actual name is, because they call him but his name is yeah. The siblings kept calling him and everyone else.
Is that his real name?
His real name is
Oh.
What?
Come up with something fake.
Oh, okay. We'll cut that out. But okay, so now we're gonna let go now. That's cut out. Okay. There was a girl just like crawling around. Like, my kids were like, she's crawling under the seat. She's crawling. And I could see, like, then I looked in the student mirror and I just see her like crawling in the middle aisle all the way in the back, just like at the back door, crawling under all the seats. I was like, dude. And this girl, like you cannot tell her anything, she will not listen. Like, nothing. There's just like those, like, you can't even put, like, there is no fear you can even put in them. Like, I gave her like all the base, the eyes, everything, bro. There are just some people who are unfazed to anything that you do.
There are just some
like, there's
kids.
and there's siblings. There's 2 of them. It's a girl and a boy.
And they're both.
And they're like just. Whew. I spoke to an administrator. They already knew. They were like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. And so they said they were going to talk to them, and they did the same thing the next day. You know, the kid's yelling again, she's under the seat. Like, I think this was day 2 where, like, this kid just, like, gets my attention, and I look at my student mirror, and his eyes are tearing up, and he's like, I had to stop the bus. And I got up, and I was like, what happened? And, like, I had to figure out who it was, because I was like, I don't know these kids' names or anything. and he showed me who it was and told me that he hit him in his private area.
Yeah.
Like, buddy was tearing. I had to tell his mom, like, I saw him talking to his mom at the stop. I had to, like, put my Ambers on and pull up a little, open my window and, like, apologize to her because I just felt so bad.
Yeah.
Because he was, like, talking to the mom, and then the mom was looking in the direction of the bus. That's not okay.
Yeah, stuff happens on the bus, and the kids will definitely test you. And I remember asking him, like, his first 2
screaming
days.
at me. I forgot. Just everyone was screaming. Like, dude, they were testing me. Yeah,
yes.
They were. I wanted to quit.
I remember asking him, like, how his first 2 days were, and he was just like, like, whenever he does something like that, he's just like, it was so bad, I want to quit. Like, that's like...
Well, and, like, I was trying to be positive, because, like, I had, like, I know it could be worse. I know it could be worse. Like, because a lot of them are good, it's just a few of them.
It's always the few,
like, there's just a few
ones.
of them right now. I don't think will ever be in check, like, that just need to be driven. They're throwing a fit every time they get to the stop. Like, half the time they're, like, on the ground, just, like, no, screaming no. They're, like, just literally, or they're running, trying to, like, run in front of the bus when I'm trying to, I remember trying to run in front of the bus.
When he's, like,
when I'm
pulling up to the stop,
and I'm just
they
like,
could
holy,
and their
like,
parent does nothing about it. Like, oh yeah, hit my kid, it'll do me a favor. Like, get your kid.
Really the vibes, yeah. Like,
but yeah, no, some parents definitely need to drive their kids to school.
Yeah.
And, like, I can't imagine what kind of behavior these kids are giving the teacher if they're just like this on the bus the whole time. But I was telling him that my seats in my bus my first year. So there was, like, a kid who was a kindergartner, and she had a sister who was in first grade. They looked like twins, but they weren't. And I had to call her mom a few times, because back then we were able to, like, call the parents on the phone number. Ever since then, there have been a couple parents who have, like, let out, like, a huge stink, like, how do you have my number? How did you get my number? You're the bus driver, you shouldn't have my number, blah, blah, blah. So now we're not allowed to really call parents. And just talk to them if they're at the stop is, like, basically the only thing, which is I
funny
think
because the phone number is on the sheet.
The phone number is there. It's, like, provided for us. But anyways, so I called her mom back then, and I was like, hey, she's having a really hard time sitting on the bus. She would, like, use the bus as a jungle gym. Like, she'd be swinging in between the seats, jumping over the seats, going under the seats. Like, I couldn't get her to sit down, you know? And so I was like, so I have my 3 kids at the front of the bus. They're all strapped in the built-in seats. And I was wondering if this was something that you would allow me to do with her. Would you consider letting me strap her in next to my kids, and she can watch on the tablet what they're watching? And they only watch, like, PBS Kids and, like, a few Netflix shows, and I listed them off for her and stuff. And she was like, yeah, that would be totally fine. And that kid sat in the seat, and she was totally fine, and then she couldn't unbuckle herself, so whenever I got to her stop, I would unbuckle her for her and stuff. And it worked out fine. I was telling Eli, like, he might have to try to get this.
I don't think that's going to fly with the parent, but yeah. Go ahead.
I was telling him he might have to ask the staff at the school to, like, contact the mom and, like, ask if that's something that's okay. Something that was funny, though, is the other day I was subbing for a route, and the kids weren't on the bus with me because Eli had finished early and taken them already. He was just finishing his something, and he had taken the kids with him, but I was working, and so in the afternoon I didn't have the kids with me. They asked me to pick up this extra route, and 2 of the kids strapped themselves into the boys' seats, and they were screaming and stuff when they got to the stop, and I pulled over the bus, and we got to the stop, and I pulled over the bus, and I just hear these 2 kids screaming, and I come back there expecting to see, like, someone got hit or something like that. And these kids are fighting their way out of the seat that they strapped themselves into. It was the most hilarious thing. I was just like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, I'll get you out. I was like, is it okay if I get you out? Because you have to ask these kids permission, you know, because you can be, like, in trouble if they, like, say, oh, this bus driver touched my kid, and my kid didn't ask her, you know, so I always ask up front. I'm like, is it okay if I get you out? And they're like, yeah, like, you know, they're, like, freaking out, like, get me out now! So I'm like, okay, yeah. But I can't lie to you, man. This kid was so scared, he left his backpack on the bus and just, like, ran off the bus to his mom.
Oh, man.
And I had to call back after him and be like, hey, because you checked the kids on in the afternoon, checked them off, so he'd already given me his name, but he ran off the bus so fast, and I was like, hey, did he have a backpack? Because his sister came off with him, and she was like, I don't know. And then I looked at the back, like on the floor, because I was subbing for this route. I don't know if I'd be able to get this backpack back to this kid. So I grabbed the bag, I found it, and then I went back over to the door and I called them and I was like, hey, and the brother wasn't responding, so I called the sister and she came and got it. But it was just an interesting, kind of funny thing that happened. Is the seats are like Hotel California, I guess. I think after day 2 you kind of started hating, stopped hating.
Yeah, it's getting a little better, except for now, like the girl got better for one day, and then now she's like climbing over seats. So I'm just like, yeah, the same girl.
She was down, and then
the kid who punched the other kid is not, like, tried to throw a pencil on the bus. Like, you know, I was just like, dude, better cut that. Like, I was like, if I see you throw anything else, you're getting written up again. Like I told him, I was like,
yeah, I
am writing you up again. If I see, because that could go in someone's eye. Like that could be a serious, like somebody could get blinded.
Yeah.
From a simple pencil being thrown.
The pencils are a huge deal. People don't realize how much pencils can be like a weapon. Like, there was this girl coming on the bus the other day. She's got this sharp wooden pencil, and she's just pointing it up like this, walking up the stairs of the bus. Just when I was about to say something, she fell. And I was like, oh my god. Like, it was so close. Like, her head went down, and thankfully the pencil fell out of her hand. But when she came up the stairs, I was like, hey, can I see that for a minute? Can you point your pencil down like this? And I was like, this is how you carry a pencil, so that if you fall, it has a much less chance of hurting you. Because if you carry it like this, it can poke you in the eye if you fall and stuff. But kids just go running around with pencils like this all the time, and they're holding them so firmly at the bottom. It's so dangerous, because then if you do fall, you still got like kind of a tight grip on it, and whatever you hit, it's like gonna puncture. So
yeah, I would know all about that.
Yeah.
'Cause I was stabbed by one in elementary.
Oh my goodness.
Get stabbed and broke lead in my arm.
Yeah, the pencils are rough.
But the only thing is, like, yeah, the high school needs hopefully, like, soon the high school will be split up, because it's just too full. The only problem is my high school is so full. Their high schoolers sitting, there's like a couple seats, 3 to a seat.
Yeah, he can't even take our kids on the bus with him right now, because he's got so many kids on the bus.
There's too many high school. Every other grade level, elementary would be completely fine. Like, there's a lot of empty seats.
Right.
But high school, yeah, it's to the front. And I feel bad because my things keep falling. So they constantly have to put it up so that they can sit, my high schoolers.
All the kids'
The seat things keep falling. They're like worn. Like, they don't stay up.
How old is your bus?
2016? 2016, I think.
Okay, got it. Yeah. My bus is not that much newer. It's 2017.
Like, they constantly have to pick it up
and put it back
so they can sit down.
Yeah. My routes are the opposite. My elementary is like super jam-packed. My high school, I don't really have that many kids, and then my middle school is like in the middle. Like, I have a good amount of kids on my middle school. Like, every seat's taken up. But my high school, I definitely have a few empty seats. Elementary school, it's like if I had a couple more kids, my kids would be having to share seats with someone, or they wouldn't be able to ride the bus. I would just have to get another route at that point. But, yep.
Yeah, I was and I was so scared that mom was gonna try to say something to me, like ever since I wrote her up, I was like, bro, I hope this mom does not try to approach my bus, because I already knew she was gonna let me have it. Like, I could just tell.
Yeah.
That there was a possibility. I was like, every time I was pulling up, I was like, please don't
say anything to me. That's the same thing I was doing.
Because it's just like, I'm not trying. Like, I don't think your kids are bad. It's just they're not built for this environment, and they need some help. Like,
yeah,
because she's only kindergarten. That's the problem. Is this girl is a kindergartner, so I give her like plenty of like
warnings.
Trying to talk to her, and not even. Like, at first I tried to just talk. It wasn't even stern. It was just I was trying to figure out different
ways.
Which one does she react to, and it's none. It's none of the above. So I was like,
yeah.
She's gonna have to just get off the bus eventually, because it's not safe to be like crawling around, man. If I hit a bump.
Yeah.
If I hit a bump or something and she's under the seat, it's like that can be a head injury. Like,
I was
I mean,
talking to some of the other bus drivers, like, when I was talking to him about how he handled the girl that was crawling around, I was like, you're probably being too nice, because I was telling him, like, the way that we speak to our kids does not work for the kids that ride our bus, like, most of them. The ones that want to act up on our bus, like, we can't. Like, we can just be like, oh, like, one of the kids is doing something, be like, hey, don't do that. And they're like, okay, daddy, okay, mom. Like, you know, and then that's it.
I feel like it goes for anyone, though, because they look at you as not their parent. I feel
no, I don't know. A lot of these kids that I've noticed on my bus, they don't listen to their own parents. And, like, I know I had, like, a lot of kids in elementary school that were acting up, and their parent would be like, yeah, I honestly don't know how to deal with them because they don't even listen to me. So...
Oof. Yeah, that's probably what's happening with those 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I do know that, like, I was talking to a bus driver, and she was just like, oh, so how's Eli doing? So how's your husband doing? Because I think everyone calls you Elijah, right? Yeah. I'm the only one. But whenever I introduce him to people, I'm like, oh, this is my husband, Eli. And he's like, oh, you're the only one who calls me Eli, by the way. So anyways, she's like, how's your husband doing? And I was like, oh, he's doing good. He's just having some problems with some of his elementary school kids. And he's trying to get them to, like, you know, act a certain way, but they're not doing it. But he started writing them up, so hopefully that'll be, you know. And I was like, yeah, he was talking to them, but I was like, were you stern or were you too nice? And he was like, I was probably being too nice. And he was like, and the bus driver was like, yeah, well, because you guys are spoiled, because your kids are, like, perfect. And I was like, I mean, we are kind of spoiled, I'll be honest, because some of the stuff these kids do, like, our kids look at the kids and say, Mommy, did you see that? Especially my first year, like, the kids were like, Mom, did you saw that? Did you see that? Like, and I'm like, yeah, I know, don't ever do that. And they're like, oh, no, not me, I could never. Like, it was too good. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride. So far, what was your favorite day? Was it Thursday or Friday? Because I know you got released on Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday were really rough. And then Thursday and Friday, were those better for you?
I think I would say Friday was good because then I realized on Friday I could probably do it without the shoot, which I know I can now.
Which was something you were saying that you weren't going to be able to do. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm more thinking that the elementary is going to take probably a month.
A while, yeah.
So that one, there's like 3 different neighborhoods with a bunch of U-turns. So.
Well, we're going to check back in with you in about a month, so. See how you're doing after that. But right now, what are your biggest concerns about the job?
I think I told you, just the bus, really. Just the bus, like, being able to catch things.
Making sure that you don't miss something in the pre-trip.
Like, not even, like, the job, just the actual bus.
The pre-trip, you know, you do it every day, twice a day. And my advice is to just keep doing the pre-trip. Most likely you're going to catch something because if you do it every day and you're looking every day at these things, if something is different, you're going to notice it.
Yeah, the problem is I still haven't learned identifying everything on different buses. That's the problem. Because I know I'm going to get a spare one day and have to be able to...
Yeah, that's one of the struggles for me. I got a spare and I didn't know where anything was when I was doing my pre-trip. I was running around like this, like, oh my gosh, freaking out. And I didn't even know how to open the door until I saw that it was this little teeny lever. Another story, I will tell you guys how bus driving has been going for me in another video, but my bus this past week broke down, and then my bus broke down on Monday. I got a spare bus, which ended up being my bus from last year, and I was super happy about it until that bus broke down on Wednesday, so now I'm known as the bus breaker. And then I had to get taken down to get, like, another spare bus, and I'm with that bus now, and this bus is not built for me. It's an IC bus, and I'm not good with ICs because I'm really light, so they throw me up and down when I go on bumps because I'm really light. And also the chair, it doesn't go forward enough, so my back is kind of off the chair, and if I lean back, it feels like I'm driving from a couch. So when I'm driving, my back is kind of off the chair like this, just like to get the proper posture that I need, so I feel kind of robotic, and like trying to just like hold up my back. So I'm just waiting for one of my buses to come back, one of the Bluebirds to come back, because Bluebirds are my favorite. So hopefully this week has good things in store for us. But I'll get into that later. But thank you for sharing your experience with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Has it? No, check. So what do you think you're the best at right now, though?
The best at?
Yeah, like
what do you mean?
What's the part you're least concerned about?
Probably the thing that was my biggest fear, which is kind of funny.
What was that?
Falling asleep. Although, to be fair, like we've been going to bed early.
We have been going to bed early lately.
So I don't know if it's really like something I can judge of like but that was my biggest fear.
But you haven't been tired.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, I guess we'll see when.
Yeah.
If I ever comes a night when I don't get good sleep, we'll see how that goes.
I mean, so far we've been doing good. We've been going to sleep a lot earlier than we usually do. So, Hopefully if we keep that up, everything will be fine. But I do know from experience, Bus Driver Appreciation Day, most of the days that people, Christmas, most of the days that people can give us gifts or do give us gifts, they always attach like a $5 Starbucks gift card or something like that in there. So I believe parents' biggest fear for us too is that we're going to fall asleep with their kids on board.
Oh, because it's Starbucks?
Yeah. So I literally had never... I'd only been to Starbucks one time in my life before I got this job, and that was with my brother when we were in high school, and we were like playing guitar, or not playing guitar, but some of our friends were out playing guitar, and we were drinking like Izzy's or something like that. I think I might have gotten like a brownie as well or something like that, but it was a long time ago. I've never been to Starbucks since. I don't like really go to Starbucks at all. So all of a sudden I had like this big stack of Starbucks gift cards, and I was like, okay, I guess I might as well start going there. My sister was at work this one time when I was off because she's a paraeducator, and so I was like, hey, I'm just gonna come bring you breakfast, or I'm just gonna come bring you lunch. It was lunch. So I went to Starbucks and I was like, yo, this stuff is really expensive here. I went through 2 gift cards already. Like, it was like, oh, okay.
It's easy to do.
But
Definitely.
some of the gift cards are like $25, $15, $10, $5, whatever, but you always get Starbucks gift cards. Like, that's the biggest gift. Like, everyone's getting these Starbucks gift cards or Target gift cards, stuff like that. It's kind of nice, but I haven't found a drink that I like at Starbucks yet, so still on the hunt. I'm not a coffee person, so leave recommendations in the comments. But anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. We're gonna check in with you in another month, see how Eli's doing. I'm sure you'll have great things in store, sir.
It's very funny. Okay.
Yes. Doesn't he look good in this color? He looks so good in this color. You look so nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye! And I'll leave my favorite highlighters linked in the description below. Highlight your brow shades. Bye!
Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and tap that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. More videos come, so please stay tuned.